please welcome Sally and Carol.
Good morning, everybody. Last time I did this, it was in front of a camera, not in front of an audience, so bear with me. Hopefully we will get through this together. First of all, I'd like to say good morning to you all members, and any guests that are here, welcome. We hope we can bring you a pleasant show today. We had a lot of fun putting it together. We wish you all a happy and healthy new year, Carol and I. Hopefully your new year will be a bright one. And maybe you can use this recipe in the new year. Probably, I think some of you may already know this recipe. If you come from an Italian family, it's pretty staple recipe. It's a lasagna recipe, but it's a recipe that we took from Lydia's cookbook, and we'll explain to you about that, because I think the presentation was Sally Maurice, or Lydia, aka Sally Maurice. So let's hope that she won't get too insulted by my cooking. I'm going to try to emulate what she does. Hopefully we will be able to get through this. But I wanted to begin by saying, well, maybe you're wondering why we're presenting a cooking show for you today. This is a garden club, and why would we have a cooking presentation? But I think you all know that any of these recipes, or all of the recipes in the world, could not be possible without our gardens. I mean, our gardens give all of the ingredients for most of the wonderful recipes in the world. Our herbs, our vegetables, fruits. All of these things from our garden represent these wonderful recipes that are presented to you by all of these famous cooks that we see around the world and on TV these days. So I've been doing this in my kitchen for a long time, and I'm sure Carol has also. And my grandmother presented this recipe. So I just wanted to also say that as I was going through the recipes and deciding what I was going to do today, I thought about my childhood. When I was a very, very young girl, really little, 4 and 5 years old, my great-grandmother had a beautiful garden. I remember it to be very large. It probably was this big, but I was really little. And she was a very country woman. She wore her old peasant clothes and her aprons, and as she dressed when she was in Italy. And she was very instrumental in my being interested in gardening, because she loved her garden. And she grew many of the ingredients that we're going to put in this recipe today. And it brought back a lot of memories for me, and I thought, if it weren't for she doing all of this, I wouldn't be here at the garden club today, I think, because she really was instrumental in getting me involved in gardening. And she was a wonderful little old lady, and I spent a lot of time on her lap and in the garden and helping her jar things and put things, getting ready for the winter. She did all of that, tomato and vegetables and eggplant and peppers, and she grew it and she stored it and she cooked it and she did the whole bit. So, and we also in our garden had a lot of fruit trees. I don't know, Carol, if you remember having fruit trees, right, years ago. We had pear trees, peaches, cherry trees, and of course we had the grapevines. And the figs, definitely the figs. Yeah, without the figs, we wouldn't have an Italian garden, I guess. So all of those were in my backyard, and many of the fruits that we did harvest in the fall came from our own garden, and my grandmother would make wonderful preserves from the fruits and a lot of pies and things like that. So without our gardens, this wouldn't be possible. So maybe we can get started. Also, I also wanted to say that we are taking a recipe from Lydia's cookbook, but I've improvised it with my own. So it isn't all hers, but she's a very wonderful woman, and I've loved her show for many years. And she's very warm and friendly. She's always asked us to try her recipes. Here we are. So we're going to try it, but we're going to improvise it a little bit. She uses some products that I haven't used over the years, so I decided to use some of my own things. So we're going to start today by, well, first of all, we have a map here that I think Betty, is this your map, Betty? Oh, Carol's map of Italy. And my grandmother, who I spoke about, came from a part of Italy way down here in Calabria.
Oh, Calabria.
Yes. She was born and raised in Calabria, and she came here to this country, and she brought all of these wonderful foods and all of these wonderful gardens with her. And here we are. Hopefully I will represent her with some pride. So let's get started. So Carol and I are going to give you a start. We're going to start first by, we're going to do a garlic bread. We're going to do the garlic bread so we can get it in the oven. Okay, it has to go in the oven. So I think you all know how to make a garlic bread. We use olive oil, a good olive oil, and we brush the bread with olive oil. I do this all the time. Lydia does this all the time. Bobby Flay does this all the time. Rachel Ray does this all the time. So we're going to copy all of them. So maybe they're copying us. Huh? We've been doing this a long time. Right? And we take some garlic and we rub the bread very nicely with, let me put it up so we can see it. Rub the bread with the garlic as much as we can. Maybe Carol, you can do this for me. You be the helper. There you go. And we'll rub the bread with garlic, and then we'll put some of this wonderful salt, pepper, just a little bit, and some parsley, which we've already chopped ahead of time, so that we don't have to do that now in front of you. So that's that. Now, to start this recipe, you need a tomato sauce. And although we're not going to cook the tomato sauce, I'm going to hopefully show you how to do it. And probably many of you already know how to do this. So if you don't mind, I'll just take a little water.
That's not wine?
Not today. After we eat, we're going to serve wine after we eat. So we'll have the wine after we eat. So the recipe for the tomato sauce is very, very simple. It's crushed garlic, which we all know how to do, I hope. You just have to crush it and chop it. And that's all it needs. We take a half of an onion. We dress the onion. Hopefully, as Lydia would do, just need a little chopped onions. Doesn't have to be fancy. That's that. Take some olive oil. And Lydia says, just a little. Just a little. And she goes on and on and on and on. So we take a little olive oil. We heat that up a little bit. We take the chopped onion, which I put in first without the garlic, because the garlic burns very easily. So we saute some onions in the pan, just as that way, until it's just translucent. We don't want it to brown. When after that is done, we didn't bring my spoon. I'll let Carol get me a spoon. We'll stir that around, and when that becomes translucent and just seems to be cooking, then we throw in the garlic. The garlic, yeah, I don't have a spoon. Well, I have this. I could use this. Saute the garlic in with that until it's very, nicely done, but not brown. We don't want it to get too brown. Then we're going to add our herbs from the garden. We're going to take some basil, some parsley, some oregano. Take this off the stem. Go the opposite way. If the stem is not too hard, we can use part of it, but you really should take it off the stem. Okay, that's it. And as they do, they roll it up and they chop it up. And we take the chocolate and you add it to that. Salt and pepper. Salt and pepper. Lydia's heavy-handed on the salt, so I will be. A little salt and pepper. Okay, and then you cook all of that together until it's melted. Just a few minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, it's cooked together. And then you add the 1 can of crushed tomato. Thank you, helper. 1 can of crushed tomato to that. And while that's cooking on the stove for about a half an hour, it doesn't have to take a long time because the recipe is going to cook in the oven, so the tomato sauce will cook a little more in the oven also. So it doesn't have to be cooked a long, long time, unless you do the old Italian recipes with the meat sauce, which takes 3 hours, and then you use the tomato sauce from that. If you want to do that, you can do that. But for this demonstration, we're going to do this light sauce. So we need to dump this over here. We didn't think about that, but that's okay. And we pull when the thing is all melded together, you put the tomato sauce in, crushed tomato. You mix it all together, and you put a little lid on it halfway, and you just let it saute for a half an hour. While that's cooking, so that's what it should look like. And while that's cooking, we are going to put together the ingredients for the lasagna. Now that takes we're going to just use one pint or 1 pound, I guess this is, of ricotta. And pot cheese, if you want to call it that, but ricotta. So we take a pound of ricotta. Hopefully this will do the job for the lasagna that I cooked ahead of time. Thanks, Carol. To 1 pound, 1 egg. This is my grandmother. No more than 1 egg with 1 pound. That's it. 1 egg is enough. It's enough. Okay, it's enough. So then we add to that Parmesan, Reggiano cheese, or Parmesan, whichever you prefer. Parmesan, I like Parmesan myself. I use mozzarella right in the recipe. This is my little bit of pepper, just a little bit. A little salt, a little bit. And we are going to use more of these wonderful herbs. Basil, a little bit, not too much oregano in this, just a touch, because it's too strong. And some parsley. And we'll chop that up and use that in this recipe also. Where did I put the knife?
Sally, did you take the parsley out of the stem?
No, only if it's a really long stem. But no, I don't take it all the stem off because the stem has a lot of flavor, I think. No, I don't take it all off the stem, not the parsley, no. And it's Italian parsley. Flat Italian parsley, right. If the stem is really a lot of stem, then I take it off. But if it's just a little stem, no. This I'm going to chop a little finer than the others because you need it a little finer for inside the recipe. You know, a little chopped really well. So, as long as I don't chop my fingers along with this, we're going to do fine. When my mother does this, she does it with her hands. She doesn't do this. She tears it all apart with her hands. The old peasant way. Yeah, it works well, very well. Okay, we add that to the recipe. And I think that's all the ingredients. And you mix that all together this way. And you can see all of the flavors are melding together. The cheeses, the salt, the pepper, the parsley, the oregano, everything together. And try to, mix it so that it all comes. The egg is really blended in with the ricotta. Can you all see that? Yeah. Okay. So what we've done, what I have done, chopped spinach. We're going to put chopped spinach in it. It's just frozen chopped spinach, which is pressed very well to take all the water out. You don't want to have water in the recipe because then everything else just waters up. It's really no good. The ricotta, you lose the consistency of the ricotta if you don't take the water out of the spinach. Now I kind of prepare my spinach a little bit more than just plain old spinach. I'll saute it a little bit in some garlic and olive oil, and then squeeze that out of it so it has some flavor in it before I use it. Yeah. But I'm not going to do that here, but that's what I do when I prepare it myself at home. So I don't think I'll need this right now. I've already cooked the lasagna, and hopefully the Lord will be with me on this, and we'll have it ready to go. Now what I did was I par-cooked it. When you cook the lasagna for the noodles for the lasagna, thank you, Carol. For the lasagna, you really have to only cook it halfway. The recipe, I think, is 12 minutes. I cook it for 6 minutes, and so that it's pliable, but it's not fully cooked. But you have to have it that way so that you can roll it. All right? So it's rollable, but it's not really fully cooked yet. But it will fully cook in the oven because it has to go into the oven for 20 to 25 minutes after you put it in. So that cooks it all together. So what we'll do is we'll start. It worked. It worked, lined up, okay, right. Thank goodness. Well, I boil it, you have to boil the water till it's really boiling. I put a little olive oil in the water. They say you don't have to, but Grandma always did, so I do. And when I did this, I took it out of the water and drained it, put a little cold water on it because you have to be able to separate them because they're hard, they come together. So not for a long period of time, just a quick sprit of the cold water so you can handle it and it pulls apart and you can line them up. To roll them up, you have to line up the lasagna. So what I did was, with this, I took so I could transport it here today. I brushed the aluminum foil with some olive oil so that it wouldn't stick. So the olive oil will enhance the flavor of the recipe, so it won't really be a problem. So what we'll do is we'll take each noodle, and we will spread the noodle with
Spinach.
no. No.
You want to put it after?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's the way I do it. So okay. So we'll take a good heaping spoonful of the filling, and we spread that out onto the lasagna. If you need a little more, we put a little more. You don't have to put too much, because then it becomes overburdened. And you continue to do that all the way down the noodle, each noodle. It's really quite simple. I mean, the other lasagna that my great-grandmother always did, she didn't roll up. She would just, layer them and then another layer. But she made it with meats. She would put sausage in it, meatballs in it. She'd chop up all the meat from her sauce, which she used to call suga. We called it suga then. And she'd put it all together, and then she would layer the lasagna noodles with sauce on the bottom, the noodles, the layer of, see, you're shaking your head, so you've done this before. So this is just a little improvisation of that, so it's easier to represent the recipe to you by rolling it up. And when we have it, we'll just have one individual recipe. It's easier to serve that way too. It doesn't fall apart. It's really a nice recipe. It's a little bit different from, I don't think I've seen Lydia or any of the other cooks do this, but I will say, now that we don't have our cooking show, you have us. Isn't that wonderful? Until they're back, you can enjoy our thing. You want to help me do this?
Sure.
If you've got a spoon,
This is the only one I have.
Carol and I can do this together. We can roll these out. And after this is done, it's really very quick. It doesn't take forever to do this. So while she's doing it, and then we'll take this.
Oh, okay.
And we place the spinach over. We don't want to use a lot of spinach, because spinach can overpower the recipe, and I'm not fond of that. I rather the recipe have the cheese and the garlic flavor rather than spinach flavor. The spinach is just, I don't know, for color, and it's good for you. It's a good vegetable for you to have. So it's good to incorporate it in a recipe.
Yeah, I think I would have mixed it all in. That's right, but this is better.
Yeah, no, mixing it all in, it turns if you mix it all in, it also turns the cheese a different color. I don't like that. Yeah. We work well together, Carol. This is good. Two Italian ladies. What else? What else could it be? Yeah. So this is how it looks. Yeah. And we have the tomato sauce, which is over there. All right, well, that's all right. We don't need that right yet.
Here's your
Yeah.
the panel.
Okay, so I made a sauce for this yesterday, so let's hope it's okay. And I will show you how to finish off the recipe. How are we doing time-wise, Miss? Yeah, all right, it's okay, so we're good. We don't have to rush then. All right. Now, I had a few left over from the ones, I've already made several trays. They're in the oven right now. But these were left over from the ones that I made last night, so we're going to... No, I'll show you. You don't need a toothpick at all. You don't have to worry about any of that, because it does very well. Now that we've done this, we're going to put a little more cheese on it.
What kind of cheese?
Parmesan. Lydia and the other cooks like to use Parmesan Reggiano. I'm not fond of that cheese, so I just use Parmesan.
What's the difference?
It's a sharper cheese, the Reggiano. It's very sharp, and it's very salty. No, that's a different one, Romano. Reggiano is right. I think one is milk. One is made from milk, cow's milk, and the other's from goat milk or something. I think the Reggiano. Oh, you got one more? All right. Okay, so we've done that. Now, so I think we won't need to add any more salt, because the cheeses and the mozz, we added salt to the ricotta. It's enough salt, I think. If you want to use more salt, we can certainly put salt out for you to salt your recipe if you want more.
That one dish is...
The 1 pound will do all of this. See, it's done it very well. See, it's done.
It's all finished.
Yep.
Basically, how many?
1 pound.
Can't see.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Well, 13.
16.
Well, there's 16. Well, I have 3 left over from the ones I made last night, so. 13, you could probably stretch it to 14, yeah, I would say. Yeah, it makes a big serving. If you fill these a little bit more, but then they ooze out, and it's really, you don't need a lot. You don't need a whole lot. You just need what's here for it to be, you know, tasty and good. So what we'll do is, let's kind of,
on the bottom of it?
no, I just don't, yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to put some sauce on the bottom. So I have a scoop here, right, a ladle. So we're going to, what we do is, if other than this pan, if you have a nice ceramic pan or a roasting pan of your own at home, you will take a pan and you will take the sauce and pour the sauce on the bottom of the pan, and, you know, spread it around, get it all spread so that it covers the bottom of the pan. You don't want to put too much in the bottom because you're going to put a lot over the top of it also. And you will take, let's put this one back in anyway, the ones that we started. Right. You take the lasagnas. I don't want to drop that on the floor. That would be it. And you roll them up just very easily. No toothpick.
Seam side down.
Just seam side down in the pan. This should fill the whole pan. And you roll them.
Sally, is that one box of noodles that you?
One, yes, it's one. Well, it's one less than a box. A box, yeah, a little bit less than a box. A box could probably do 1.5 trays. But be careful when you cook the lasagna because it could fall apart on you very easily. It could tear, and you could lose a lot of them. So if you're going to make this recipe, I do recommend that you put more lasagna in than you need, because you will end up with some, you know, discards, or use them for, you can cut them up and use them for spaghetti afterwards, you know, if you want, rather than, if they do break apart, you can reuse them. So how are we doing? Can we fit these in there? We can put one on top, it won't matter. If you have one extra, you can stick it on the top of the thing. It doesn't really make any difference. One short? Oh, well, we'll stick it on there. Okay, so this would have filled this by itself. We have one extra. So this is how it's going to look to you in the pan. Can you see that? Okay? Okay, so now we're going to continue with the recipe. We're going to fill it now with the rest of the tomato sauce, and we're going to be a little bit generous because it'll get too dry if you're not generous. I like to use a lot of the tomato. It should be generous. I like it that way. This is the way I was taught to do it, so I'm sure our famous cooks probably would say okay to that. Now, this is not done yet. Now we're going to take some more of the mozzarella, and we're going to be heavy-handed with that also. Well, if you want it to taste good, you can't just put a little bit. You got to put a lot. Got to put a lot of the good stuff. Well, that's good. I think that's what we have. So a little bit more of the cheese over the top.
And as Lydia would say,
Well, we used everything up. Oh, you know what I didn't do with the I forgot to put was the little hot pepper, but you know, it's all right, doesn't matter. No, not in here. Then you cut, excuse me?
Cheese will be okay to cook for
25 minutes. Yeah, yeah. Then now that it's prepared this way, can it be seen?
Yeah.
You put it in the oven with a lid, with a cover. Cover it, always cover it. And for 350 degrees for 25 minutes. No more, because then the edges start to get hard. Then it's not going to be good. So it'll all gel together for about 25 minutes. And that's the recipe. That's it. That's the way we did it. Now, we're going to have...
Do you keep it covered for the 25 minutes? Okay.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Keep it covered the whole time that it's in there. We are going to have a salad with our meal today. So we are going to just do a very simple lemon and olive oil salad dressing. Salt and pepper. I would put a little hot pepper in it, but I'm not going to do it today because a few people I know don't like hot pepper, so I'm going to leave it out, if that's okay. Excuse my back, I just didn't have the room here. We need a lemon. We need a bowl. For this is the simplest dressing. You've seen Lydia and all the other cooks do this a million times. It's just lemon, olive oil, salt and pepper, a little seasoning. If you want to put a little bit of the oregano or a little bit of the thing in it, you can. But I already have it in here, so I'm not going to add it to this. So it's just one lemon. You have to do that to get the juices out, I guess. One lemon, I'm going to use one lemon because we're going to need all this dressing. The olive oil and I need the other dressing. Yeah. We don't want the pits. Yeah, we can put that in there.
Sally.
Yeah.
What a dry pasta is.
Well, my committee that helped me with this, Betty and Carol, they used the ronzoni dried pasta. It's good. But any of the lasagnas are all right. You can use a wheat lasagna for this. What I use?
What? You can make your own.
You can make your own lasagnas.
No,
So, yeah,
I usually use the fresh one, but I want to know what you use. Which brand you use.
ronzoni. It was a ronzoni. There's one pit in here, you know. There it is. Yep. All right, now we're going to take the little salt, a little bit of pepper, olive oil, and about a half a cup of olive oil for this. You don't want to put too much olive oil because it destroys the recipe. And you have to blend it really, really well.
Sally, is there a ratio of lemon to olive oil? Like if you wanted to make a little less or?
Yes, half a lemon would be better than a full lemon because it has a lot of tartness. So if you're going to use a small salad, then a half of a lemon. The whole lemon I'm using because we're going to spread it around a lot. So.
Lemon is also pretty large.
Yeah. So if it's a smaller lemon, then use a whole one. If it's a large lemon, half a one. You know, I'll add this to this.
What's in there?
This is seasonings are in here. I put parsley.
What's the liquid in there?
It's just olive oil and olive oil and a lemon. That's it. Okay.
Salt and vinegar, don't you think?
I don't know.
We put the lasagna now.
It's tart. It's good. Just half and half. Don't use it all. Yeah, don't use it all. Oh. Okay, I think we've done the recipe. We've used all these beautiful herbs. We have a nice salad. The lasagna's in the oven. We put the other tray that we just made in there, so that'll take a little bit longer than the one that are in there. So we're going to hopefully have a nice meal today. Let's see, where is, did I lose my towel? Oh, you have my towel. There's another one here behind you.
Yeah. That was you.
Yeah. The ladies here at the Garden Club have beautiful desserts for you today. They made tiramisu, I think is in the kitchen, and there's some beautiful Italian pastries that were put together especially for this occasion, so that we presented an Italian recipe as well as we have Italian desserts for you all. So I hope you enjoy the food. I hope it tastes as good as it looks, and thank you very much for having me, and have a wonderful day.